Hello, Terry.
I would like to visit you today about the Chinese education system, and I have some questions I want to ask you about.
Sure.
The first one is, what do you think about the Chinese education advantage and disadvantage?
Speak of advantage and disadvantage in China education. I think both of them are the same answer is that the Chinese students have more school work to do. Like they have more classes at school, and they like the school dismiss very late, and they often have night school and have lots of homework to do. It's, yeah. The advantage is that for this school system, students can learn more knowledge, and they can have a good control for the knowledge they have after they do a lot of homework. But the disadvantage is also that the students feel more pressure, so they have less time to enjoy themselves.
Hi Daniel, my name is Terry. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Terry. Thank you.
How are you today?
Very good. Very good. Well, what I can tell you about the Canadian school system is that they are very politically correct in that they are very interested, almost extremely so, in teaching about cultural issues. For example, they want to try to educate students about racism and about all kinds of prejudice against people with handicaps, prejudice against people who are different for any reason. There's even an attempt to educate Canadian students about the rights of Indigenous people and the terrible history of residential schools, and they're trying to be very proactive about these issues. So that is very much part of the curriculum in Canada.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about respect. You know, a lot is made of students needing to respect their teachers, but I think it's equally as important that teachers respect the student as well. So I let my students have their own opinions. I let them dress like they want to dress. I let them say what they feel because I respect my students. I think it's good. I never had to wear a uniform when I was young, but I think it's good because it takes away the anxiety that can come regarding the fear of what to wear and the fear that maybe your clothes are not good enough for other students or you might be teased about certain things. I think that uniforms help to level the playing field. So if you look at rich students and you look at poor students, they're all dressed the same.
The Chinese school system.
The Canadian education system is a pretty good system because it encourages students to find a good balance between academics as well as social life as well as extracurricular activities. The Chinese school system, on the other hand, is more rigorous and puts more of an emphasis on academics, which may not be the healthiest for students because it doesn't foster their other talents. or doesn't provide them enough time to learn about different social abilities or social skills throughout their formative years. I think in Canada there's a much more close relationship between students and teachers because students are actually allowed to approach their teachers without fear of being disciplined. While that may not always be the case, I know that in China there's a very big separation between teacher and student, and that many students actually do not feel comfortable to approach their teachers to even ask a simple question for fear of getting disciplined or reprimanded. School teaching system, and I've even taught in China actually for 2 weeks, just as like a mini exchange type program. And what I noticed is that students here in Canada are much more, I would say, less self-directed. So that means they like more structure, they like more to be told what to do, step A, B, C. But they also like more discussion and more exploration of creative side. Whereas in China, they're more used to just becoming like robots, where they would just memorize a formula or memorize a system and then try to get, they know how to find the answer really fast and really readily, but that comes with the negative of the fact that they're actually not able to really maybe be creative or explore their other side.
I think for the advantages, the Chinese system is very rigorous and really prepares in the academic sense students. But I think disadvantages show up in the creative sense, where students trying to pursue the arts, it's not really encapsulated in the final test, where it's really emphasizes the academic parts as opposed to other elements that are quite crucial, such as sports and the arts. I think the Canadian system allows a lot of freedom for the students, and there's not a lot of stress for the students, which is always great, because learning is supposed to be quite a happy system. But I think it's a little too relaxed, and I don't think the students are getting what they should be getting from the system. So yeah, that would be the. I guess in China, there's a lot more emphasis on that position where other teachers, that's very strict. I guess at least that's my perception of it. I haven't been in the system long enough to have a really objective observation. But anyways, yeah, it's much more strict. But over here, I guess they're more like friends in many cases. I think that's how I describe it. I think I'm still biased towards staying here.
Why?
Because I think I'm just simply more used to it, and I think given the right opportunities over here, you can balance that level of rigor with your pursuits in other areas of interest. But I think back in China, I think it's too limited, and you don't have that option to do other stuff.
I think the Canadian education system is very liberal in terms compared to the Chinese school education system. As far as I know, I think the Chinese school system is quite demanding of students, and there's not a lot of support that's for like students who might suffer, or not suffer, students who might have like dyslexia or like ADHD or like any other learning disability. So I think that the Canadian school system definitely handles that better because there's a lot more support here. And again, like this is just as far as I know. I think the Chinese school system is pretty demanding of students, so there's not a lot of like support that we have here. And this is like through like support for like learning disabilities, and also support for like just like general counseling, like personal therapy and things like that. So I think the Canadian system is a little bit more advanced than the Chinese system. I think in Canada, or at least at the school I go to, the relationships between students and teachers are definitely more close than they are in China. Or at least like the relationships I have with my teachers are very friendly, and I can definitely go to them for anything I need, like personal or school wise. But yeah, I couldn't see like a Chinese student going up to their English teacher and saying they have a problem with their life. So yeah. I think it would be a really cool and interesting experience to kind of experience the Chinese school system. It would definitely be a really educational experience to kind of see another perspective on things that we learn. But for the most part, that probably wouldn't happen. So I think I'm quite settled in the Canadian school system. Okay. Another thing that I thought of after is that even though most kids learn the same things, there's definitely a difference in the way that teachers teach and like the way like media is available. I think the technology that's in Canada allows students to access a variety of different sources, whereas in China there's definitely a limited and censored amount of things you can know or access, and that is completely okay because we live in a democracy here, whereas they live in a democracy there. So I think that